And good afternoon, everyone. This is Hajim Zero here back with another quick TV review. This is, well, I should say, welcome to The Walking Dead season 7, and let's dive right in. So, with this season, like I said, continuing from 6, the big thing is continuing, and possibly for the rest of the series, is a large number of communities and of course, you have the Saviors, the Alexandria, Hilltop, and the Kingdom is the next official one that's introduced. And what was it? The Heapsters and Oceanside, and I'm gonna try to talk about each one the best way I can. So, the way that the Saviors operate, they pretty much extort out every single community. They extorted out the four main ones, and then one of them had got away. The ones that are being extorted is the Kingdom, Hilltop, Alexandria, and Oceanside. But Oceanside had took off when they had executed all the men. So, they do come back into play later in the story. But it was kind of interesting. And then how they officially operate, in addition, is they end up killing one member of the group, using in front of everyone to stand to make a point. But with the Kingdom, they didn't have that happen to them, or at least that's what's implied. And then not to mention, it's all happening in secret. The people of the Kingdom don't even know what's going on. Only, the leader Ezekiel and his people, and even the Savior, the leader of that, the one of the lieutenants that they're dealing with, even he's pretty decent in, trying to make everything peaceful. He's not, instigating anything and X, Y, and Z. But the more and more I looked at it, I was like, this piece of how they operate is no different from what happens in the real world, at least here in America. The only difference is that no one's getting killed, but they do send you some kind of punishment if you don't pay whatever you're owed. So it's kind of like that, and also a little bit how insurance work, even though not everyone uses it all the time. It's only there when you get hurt, or the convenience, but you pay it every all the time. So that's pretty much a little bit how the Saviors work. It is kind of wrong of what they, well, it is wrong 110%. And personally, I've been with a killed Negan a long time ago, because he does instigate some of the stuff that happened. Like, I think secretly he wanted to kill Glenn, even though it's understandable what he said about Abraham. Yeah, number one, yeah, had to happen, but number two didn't. And it's kind of funny how the way the story's set now, especially with season 8, I really believe, I think I really stated that this in season 5, and if I did, you can tell me if I did, because I usually don't watch the videos. I just upload them real quick. The term The Walking Dead, it's really about the living. It's not about the zombies that are around. The zombies are pretty much the backdrop, to lure people. But The Walking Dead is really about how people change in this world. And there are a lot of people who are walking around like that now. Either something happened to them, and I recently heard like people who suffered through 9/11 and that survived, they're still walking around dead inside, because it's either post-traumatic stress, or they had to deal with all the death and what they did real quickly to survive. And that is if leaving people behind was the essential, thing. So seeing that come into play was very, very, true. Because some people, they don't like this show because of the violence and the gore and all that. But I was like, it's no different from our world. And I keep telling people that when I present it to them. I mean, that's what the term usually means. And, biblically, they even talk about the dead rotting up coming from the ground anyway. I think in Revelation and in Daniel, and then I think a passage in Leviticus. But I'm not going to get on the whole religion talk. So at the end of this season, All Out War starts. Negan tries to sets up the second line, but pretty much, Rick isn't going to bow down and follow what, he's pretty much doing. you know, that's just a small talk version of it. But the good thing about all the seasons in hand is really a reflection of our world history. Everything from the Black Plague with the flu in season 4, and what one YouTuber said about even here. He goes to King Ezekiel to seek help, and that's what we kind of did in the American Revolution. We went to the French, and it's happened many times before, even World War II. I think the Chinese that came to us, but I could be wrong about that. But I know that we were allied with them in Britain, to fight the Japanese and mainly, of course, the Nazis. So it's kind of funny how stuff in media reflects on history as well as off. It's just that it's kind of cool how Kirkman set these things up in Human Nature. And it's funny when I see his interviews, I wonder if he had any kind of psych classes or reading these psych books about human nature, or did he just pretty much knew this is how, what he was going to do if the apocalypse happened, or what people would do. So he stated before he doesn't put much of his personal aspect into it. It's just his love of the zombie genre and how, he wanted to see the story keep going, which was my personal thing as well. It's just that at the time, I think it was right after I saw Dawn of the Dead, and 28 days later, how the story really didn't continue. And that's right around when Kirkman's book had came out. And I didn't, like I said before, I possibly said in season 1, I didn't start reading the book until around season 2, I believe. Yeah, and I've seen the comic book before, but I have a thing where I don't like walking in the middle of the story, because I was flipping through it, and one of the most messed up images I saw was Laurie dying, and then me finally reading up to that point and seeing what happened, I was like, oh shit, and it was just bananas of how dark and realistic that Kirkman had took it, and that's why it's loved by many people now. And he even said, people came to him multiple times before 2010 to adapt it into a TV or something in another medium, and he wanted to listen to him closely. He said it was pitched as a zombie movie that never ended, but at the same time, you really can't make films like that because it technically will never end. You'll be pumping out. It'll be like the Saw movies. You make one like every single year or every 2 years, and for a lot of content that The Walking Dead has as a book, you really couldn't do that. Yeah, it'll be chopped up in certain parts, and it'll just look weak. So, again, I love the storytelling. I love some of the story beats, even though people make fun of them 9 times out of 10. But it is, human nature of what people would do in a situation. And so far, the Saviors is the biggest community that they've come across, because they have outposts literally everywhere. And, even in the comic book was like that, but recently I looked at the Walking Dead wiki, and there's apparently a bigger group than that, and I think it's the Ohio radio people. And I'm not going to get into the whole comic book thing because I personally haven't read it. I think I'm like, the last part I read was about the Whispers and how they cut off all those people's heads and put them on the pikes for the border of their land, and that's like, I can't remember if that's in the middle of the introduction of the Whispers or right after that, if that's the Whisperer War. But I can't wait to see how they're going to do that on the show, because so far for this season, people said it was so depressing. And I was like, well, that's kind of the point, because living in that world is depressing, and they've pretty much done it before. This is just the super rock bottom of how they've been knocked down. And this is why I usually tell people you have to read a book, because, if you follow both mediums, you can tell what they changed and what they didn't change. And if you never read the book, it'll still keep you guessing, because they have changed a lot of stuff. And even on the show, they changed a lot of things. Even with Oceanside, they introduced them a little bit earlier than what they were supposed to, because they originally had showed up like after All Out War, and they weren't even you only saw like a couple boats. They really weren't mainly people, but I think it was mentioned by someone that they trade with them, and that's it. Because Because on the show they made them a big conflict, like they killed everyone that came into the camp. Well, 9 times out of 10 they'll try to investigate to keep them there so they won't kill them, but you find out later that they all left because the saviors had killed all their men. So instead of giving them supplies, they just left, and they stayed hidden, which is kind of smart. But I understand why they would kill someone, especially when Tara's character had show up, and she had mentioned that she had killed her and Alexandrians. They had shot up the outpost, and they immediately knew it was the Savior's outpost. So, the only group that has not been exhorted were the Heapsters. And the funny thing is that it was kind of hard to say this. Let me explain. So, when the Heapsters were first introduced in one of the episodes, the second time when the leader Jadis and Rick have a conversation, she was saying that we own your lives. Do you want to buy them back? And then Rick says the saviors own our lives, and they're going to cause pretty much a problem. And because you can help us in fighting and joining, so we can trade. And she says no, because she's mainly pissed about really wanting the supplies that Rick's crew got off the boat. Now, something is telling me, now that I think about it, I think she knew about the saviors, but never were smart enough to not encounter them, because I believe now, definitely now that I think about it, I think Jadis or someone else from the group had witnessed the saviors' handiwork in killing someone from their group. And the funny thing is that in season 8, if it's really revealed that they were there the night Glenn had died and Abraham and all the saviors, I would not be shocked. Now thinking about that possible theory. Because around the finale, they set up this whole plan to attack the saviors when they come back. And Jadis and the Heapsters turn on Rick. And I can't remember if she said that we had followed the saviors when they took the stuff off the boat that we were waiting for. I don't know if they set up a deal then. I can't remember the point I was making with that, but I can't remember if they set up a deal then or if they knew about them before. So that is kind of interesting. And then at the same time, Negan was negotiating with Jadis, and that was some other strange shit, because it had to be one person that went after the supplies and did this whole negotiation thing. And I'm saying this because, if there's a group of 3 of you, they're going to, like I said, the Saviors is going to kill one of you to make a point of giving us more supplies, or more people are going to die. So I wonder what the relationship between Jadis and Negan really is. And it's very, very mysterious, because so far in season 8, her character has not popped up again, even though the actress that plays her, I keep seeing her name in the credits. Like, it's about to be season 4, I believe. No, not season 4, episode 4. And, she still hasn't shown up yet. So I'm like, what's really going on? But now that I think about it, before, I wonder if the Heapsters already knew about the Saviors, even before Rick had crossed them, or if they were there the night Glenn and Abraham had died and they saw what they were about. So I'm kind of curious about that one. I'm now thinking about it, wouldn't cross my mind if they officially knew. But the biggest question is, I wonder why Negan has not fully exhorted Jadis. And something else tells me that they had made a deal saying, okay, we do this, you don't exhort us, but we will give you Rick and his group and double cross them, and it'll be on a silver platter. They just straight up, negotiated and said, this is what it's going to be. It's only one person. The kill is not going to happen. So I am kind of interested, and I'm just waiting to see what the Heapsters are really going to do. And it is a very, very mysterious flake. Something is telling me that they might still be on the Savior's side, because somewhat at this point now, Rick does have an advantage. But from the last episode, they got fired at. Well, the Kingdomers got fired at by the Saviors, and I didn't piece it together when he had asked the guy that was behind the tree, where is this certain, I think it was like an 80 cal gun, that big machine gun on the back of trucks. And then as soon as he said it later, that cut, that's when the unloading of the fire had happened, especially when they killed all the Saviors. Like, it was too damn easy. And, I was fully expecting, that to come out of left field just a tad bit. But, I love the acting in this season, especially Jeffrey Dean Morgan's performance. And he even said himself that he hated doing the episode when he had to kill Glenn and Abraham because it was severely fucked up for him. And, he has to be joking about it while tormenting, Rick and doing this. And when they read, it's kind of funny when the actors talk about when they read the script and then they're just like every other fan. They just pause when this big thing happens and it really blows their mind. So yeah, that's pretty much my quick review for season 7. Batman the animated series is going to be next, but it'll probably be a while before I upload that. That'll be the next TV, review. I think it's Batman Justice League, Batman Beyond, and then X-Men the animated series. So see you guys then. I'll do season 8 when it comes out on DVD. It'll probably be a while from me uploading this. So yeah, talk to you guys later. Peace.